This submitter had left his Cybertruck parked while visiting a bagel shop when Sentry Mode captured a banged-up Mazda pulling in next to it. The driver of the Mazda looked around before gripping his key firmly and dragging it down the side of our submitter's custom-wrapped Cybertruck. He wasn't done with his vandalism yet. This criminal then approached another Cybertruck parked directly behind our submitters before keying it too. Far from a random act of vandalism, this was clearly a targeted attack against Teslas. Our submitter made a police report, and they need your help identifying this hateful individual. If you know who he is, help make sure he can't do this to anyone else by contacting us, and we'll forward the information to the Boulder Police Department. Our submitter knows firsthand that Cybertruck hate is real. He's been spit at, flipped off, and now he's been keyed. But he also told us his truck has gotten a ton of love. If you love the Cybertruck, keep watching to the end for a special surprise. This submitter went shopping for groceries with his kids in Gig Harbor, Washington. Watch what happened after they'd been parked for less than 10 minutes. Our submitter didn't even realize what had happened until he got home and opened the hatch before his son asked, "What word does FU make?" Sadly, our submitter wasn't able to read the offender's license plate number in his Sentry Mode footage. He decided to report the incident to the police anyway, and they requested a copy of the video. As far as he knows, the police haven't done anything, likely because there wasn't any damage and they probably couldn't identify her either. Maybe one of our viewers knows who this model citizen is. She sure seems happy about knowing 2 whole letters. The question is, what exactly did she accomplish by drawing them on a stranger's car? This submitter had left his Model 3 parked in Plano, Texas, when some guy walked up and deflated one of his tires. You might think this is no big deal, but this action literally puts lives at risk, and not just the life of the Tesla's driver. We asked Grok what might happen if you let the air out of someone's tire in a parking lot. Explain it to us like we're 5 years old. Grok told us if you let the air out of a car's tire, it might crash into stuff and really hurt people. See? Even a 5-year-old can understand that concept. Our submitter reported this incident to the police, and they used his Teslacam footage to identify the culprit. Sentry Mode wins again. A Honda driver failed to stop at a stop sign, failed to yield to traffic, and failed to see this submitter's Tesla. Check out the aftermath of the Honda bump that totaled his Tesla Model S. Let's watch the Teslacam footage so we can see what happened. He was driving his Model S in Lakeville, Minnesota on a main road and at a steady speed. He told us his Tesla sounded an alarm while engaging automatic emergency braking when a Honda driver failed to yield even though he had the right of way. He tried to swerve to avoid a collision, but he didn't have enough time to react. The damage was so severe, his Tesla was disabled and had to be towed away. The other driver admitted fault at the scene, and the police report also confirms she'd failed to yield. Our submitter filed an insurance claim and is waiting to find out if his Tesla will be repaired or deemed a total loss. Sorry, buddy, you've been Honda bumped. Raymundo was photographing a wedding inside the wedding venue when his Tesla app alerted him that his alarm had been activated. When he looked out the window, it wasn't a vandal he saw. A huge tree branch was on top of his car. He discovered this damage after removing the massive branch. Between the smashed windshield and a wobbling tire, he decided it wasn't safe to drive and had it towed home. Raymundo filed an insurance claim, and he's now waiting for an appraiser to come take a look at his Tesla. Thankfully, he told us his family has another Tesla, a black Model Y named the Batmobile, so he was able to go photograph another wedding the next day. Eric was driving his Model X in Lakewood Ranch, Florida, when a driver making a right turn on red illegally crossed 3 lanes to turn into his lane. Eric reacted quickly, avoiding a collision by driving onto the traffic island. Then, when he honked and began following her to see if she would stop, she brake-checked him. You all know that we're experts at lip reading here at Wham Baam Teslacam, so let's take a crack at this one. It looks like she's shouting, "What the fudge?" but even experts make mistakes from time to time. Eric stopped and checked his Tesla for damage, but thankfully there wasn't any. He's thankful his Model X has plenty of ground clearance, which enabled him to safely climb the curb onto the island. This submitter was enjoying the corners of a road famous with motorcycle riders with 3 of his friends in his Tesla Model 3. The name of the road translates to the Road of 17 Turns. You're about to see why this submitter asked to remain anonymous. We absolutely do not condone the driving you're about to see, but we're hoping our viewers will learn not to follow this submitter's example. He told us he was showing off his Tesla's all-wheel drive to his friends, along with his driving skills. He claims he's not a bad driver, but he also admitted he was going too fast for these corners. The speed limit on this road is about 30 miles per hour, but our submitter told us he was going about 55 miles per hour. He told us the Tesla was handling the turns well and even drifting around some of the corners. But in the last one, he lost control and smacked into a curb. The impact damaged the front and back wheels, their control arms, part of the front motor, the front bumper cover, the side skirt, and more. Thankfully, nobody was injured and the airbags didn't deploy. Our submitter summoned 24-hour roadside assistance, and they towed his Tesla away from the scene. After a grand total of 7 collision experts examined the Model 3, they determined it could be repaired. Fixing it cost the equivalent of over $23,000 US. Matt was driving his Model 3 down a highway in Austin, Texas, when he did a double take. A truck was heading straight at him at full speed. Matt quickly changed lanes to avoid a collision, as did the Honda driver behind him, but the truck just kept on trucking. Tony was driving home with his 14-year-old son just after 8 p.m. when a car suddenly appeared rounding a bend, heading straight toward him on the wrong side of the road. Tony told us full self-driving wasn't active, but he's still unsure if the Tesla assisted him in making an evasive maneuver to avoid a head-on collision. Bob was using FSD when it correctly maneuvered into a left turn lane. Neither FSD nor Bob had time to do anything, as a distracted driver drifted into his lane. Bob estimates the other driver missed sideswiping his Model Y by under 2 inches. Thankfully, there was nobody behind him, or she would have nailed them as she continued drifting into the turn lane. Bob had a message to share with that driver: "You can wait to use your cell phone." Panya was on her way to downtown Seattle one morning when a gray Volkswagen almost sideswiped a blue Honda. Panya thought she'd just witnessed a collision, but both vehicles continued on their separate ways, which suggests that no contact had actually occurred. When she reviewed her Teslacam footage, it still wasn't clear. Either this is the closest call we've ever seen, or those 2 vehicles traded paint. Cast your vote in the comments. Noah's stepmother was driving home from the vet when she suddenly heard a loud crunch on her left. A Hyundai driver had pulled out without checking for traffic before colliding with an oncoming Toyota. Noah's stepmom put down her window to ask if anyone was hurt, and the drivers gave her a thumbs up to let her know they had everything under control. Just in case, she sent a copy of her Teslacam footage to the local police department. Bruce was on his way home after a work event at around 7 p.m. As he turned into his subdivision, he noticed a gas-guzzling pickup that was a little over-eager to reach a gas station. The driver quickly realized their mistake and stopped before going completely into the ditch. Bruce just bought his Tesla, and he told us our videos inspired him to join the Tesla community. He had no idea he'd have a video to send us so quickly. Craig was driving his 2016 Model S in San Francisco, an older model that doesn't have the Teslacam feature. Don't worry, Craig was smart and installed an aftermarket dashcam. It's a good thing he did, because on this seemingly ordinary day, he caught the finale of a police pursuit just as his light turned green. A red SUV driving in a bike lane ran a red light before hopping a curb onto light rail tracks, then finally crashing into a vehicle parked on the street. The driver took off on foot, but Craig told us he was apprehended a block away by officers from multiple pursuing cruisers. Craig was on the phone with emergency operators as he watched the suspect getting cuffed while face down on the ground. He offered to send them his dashcam footage and is now waiting for a call from the arresting officer. The driver of a Mini Cooper bumped into RC's parked Tesla as she was backing out of a parking spot. RC came back to his Tesla when he heard the alarm going off. The other driver apologized, and even though it looked like a simple fender bender, this insurance nightmare story was just getting started. An insurance adjuster estimated the repair cost at just under $1,000 before a collision center bumped that up to almost $5,000. By the time the repairs were completed, the repair cost had skyrocketed to $7,816.03. Amazingly, the only thing they'd actually replaced was the plastic trim, which couldn't be repaired, and paint protection film. Because the new price was so much higher than the initial estimate, the other driver's insurance provider refused to pay the repair bill. That's when RC's insurance provider stepped in. When they saw the bill, they also refused to cover the full amount. They were only willing to pay $3,400, and they told RC they think the repair shop added unnecessary costs to the bill. RC thinks the collision center is intentionally gouging Tesla drivers, inflating their repair costs to take advantage of them. RC told us that in North Carolina, auto repair shops aren't allowed to increase a bill by more than 10% from the original estimate without notifying the customer. In this case, that definitely never happened, as neither RC nor either insurance company was notified. Okay, we're not experts by any means, but putting the vehicle in service mode takes 5 seconds to push a button on the screen, but the shop charged for half an hour of labor. Then another half hour to take it back out of service mode. RC wants to know if any of our viewers have legal advice for him so he can fight this price gouging, especially considering how minor the original damage was. Watch this video to see more times when Sentry Mode got dumb criminals caught. Or if you love Cybertrucks, help us celebrate hitting 1 million subscribers by enjoying this awesome music video featuring fan sightings of the coolest pickup on the planet.